your popular guy.
Oh, yes, I'm Dan Leach, running the task force. The great baby Dave Rieger here as always. And our special guest, he's got that beautiful smile because he knows this is his anthem, the San Francisco Giants fight song. Jamie, you knew this right away, didn't you?
You know, Dan, I heard the Hum Baby, and I know a lot of versions of the Hum Baby song. I don't know that one. I gotta say. What year is that from?
I believe it's from the 2012 run. One of those even year 3 World Series runs, if I'm not mistaken.
Gotcha.
I think it's Pablo Sandoval. Tigers here.
I'm flattered to be asked back. I know I follow the closely, so I know that last weekend you had on an actress, I believe, right?
Adult variety, Jamie.
Yes. And then you had on Erica Erickson from Fox 2.
Yes.
So,
well,
it just makes sense.
Let me explain.
It makes sense that I complete the trifecta with my horrible quarantine hair and my hoodie. So I'm ready to go.
You look great. Let me explain to you. I told you I had a surprise for you to start the show. So you were one of our first guests. You always believed in the task force. You were our highest rated show. So on May 3rd,
that's a lie.
It's the truth. We had to bring you back for May Sweeps, Jamie. This is where there's no advertising dollars. This is where all the money is made. So now, of course, you got to bring you back for May Sweeps, Jam Sam.
Wow, May Sweeps. So are you guys going to have like a cliffhanger?
Yes.
Is Rieger going to get shot at the end of an episode in like mid-May, and we're going to find out who did it?
Yes.
And it wasn't Leach.
No, it wasn't because I'm here.
He distanced himself, right?
What was it? His mother? Was it Jeff sneaking over? Was it the dog? Was it Bouts, Jeff's dog? Was it Daisy, Freda's dog? There could be so many answers, Jamie.
It really could.
I guess you're just going to have to tune in and find out.
Who shot Dave
Rieger?
Well, speaking of the fall, and before we get into an important sports question, I did want to ask you, how have you been? Obviously, you're doing a phenomenal job, as you always do. On Jamie and Stoney. I haven't done an air shift in a month and a half. So I listen to you guys and yearn for those days. That's why I'm doing the task force to stay connected. And how are you doing? Your quarantiner looks great, by the way. What's been life like for you the last few weeks?
I think like everybody, we're kind of hitting the wall here. I'm glad we had a really nice weekend. People would get outside and do some things that they wouldn't normally do. We mowed the lawn yesterday. Well, my son mowed the lawn. I helped him. But, I think we're all hitting the wall. I mean, we're all ready to kind of get back to normal, but I don't think we know what normal is. I don't think normal's ever going to be normal again.
Right.
And we just don't know when that date's coming. I think we've all watched enough of the Red Wing championship games and the Piston championship games. And while they are fun to watch, it'd be fun to watch real games again where you don't know the outcome.
Right.
Kind of humming along, right?
Yeah, it's by the way, Porcho's on the chat saying you got big shoes to fill. If anyone can fill the big shoes of Kendra Lust and Eric Erickson, it's Jam Sam. But by the way,
yes, Kendra Lust. I forgot her name. Kendra Lust.
Shelby Township's own, Michigan's own Kendra Lust. But Jamie,
we worked together briefly at CSX. But go ahead.
Oh, did you really? I wasn't aware of that.
No,
not true.
I'm about to say, wow.
She wasn't the weather girl.
She was. She was not.
You mentioned though the classic games today. I have to bring this up, and Dave will appreciate this too. They were showing the old Packers Cowboys '96 playoff game, and it was Pat Summerall, John Madden. I mean, yes, I'm getting tired of the old classic games, and I've fallen in love with horse racing. But I mean, how cool is that, Pat Summerall? The only problem with Pat Summerall, Jamie, is let's say the Giants and Cowboys were playing, he'd be like, Lions 43, Cowboys 6. He'd mess the teams up. But that was pretty cool to see that kind of stuff.
No, I agree, and it's been fun. And I know, Dan, you on Facebook were going nuts about the Pistons game the other night, Game 5 against the Lakers.
That was awesome.
And they showed that, I think, on ABC. I was talking on Friday morning. I think now that we've gotten through most of the titles in the last, 15, 20, 30 years here in Detroit, start seeing some of the lost classics. Now, I don't know. I wouldn't even know losses because there's some really compelling games in Detroit sports history that I brought up on Friday. If they showed game 163 again against the Twins, I would watch that game. That game had so many elements, so many nooks and crannies to it. I know they lost. It was a bitter loss for the Tigers, but I still wouldn't mind seeing that. And I love seeing the wins. Don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't mind seeing some of the other kind of lost classics along the way. Like if they showed the entire 96 and 97 Wings Avs series in this entirety, I think I'd watch every night.
How about the Galarraga game? How about the Robert Horry game against the Pistons? I mean, they hurt, but those are the games. Black Swan events, Jamie.
The Galarraga actually going to be on this week on Fox Sports Detroit. I was reading today they ran down their list of games this week, and that Verlander's 2 no-hitters are going to be shown this week, and the Galarraga game is going to be shown. Problem is, it's not much happens until the 9th inning, right? An amazing catch, and then
exactly.
All hell breaks loose.
Yep. Yeah. Well, a lot of things, nothing really happened except for Edward Banner going down and not reaching base. That was pretty cool. Jamie, Dave, I want to get you in a second here, but it's one of these things where, yes, we're doing what we can. We're doing the best we can to fill the time and obviously staying busy. And I won't brag a little bit. I've walked 38 of 39 days, down 10 pounds, so I'm trying to get there. But
10 pounds, look at you.
I mean,
look at the kid.
I'm trying. I got to lose like 25 more.
Posting more pictures of yourself on social media so we can see this weight loss.
Hey, you know what's funny though? I love posting those pictures of myself. During this quarantine, I really haven't. If you noticed, I posted old ones, great pictures of me and you in the space coat, but not many vintage, not many current Leach pictures. I did post one for my squirrel walk the other day, and I got compliments of my face looking thinner. So I'm working on it. A lot of chicken, a lot of sushi, a lot of corn, and very, very low calorie foods. But
a lot of corn.
Yes, corn. Jimmy Craig corn. I don't care. Corn is excellent for you. And what I do is I buy it with the husks on, so it's cheaper, and I can pull the husks off, put it in some tinfoil, and it's excellent.
Of course
it's excellent. Good Jew deal for me.
Yeah.
But Sam, all the classic games aside, and we talked about this a little bit about a month or so ago when you first came on the task force. Sports coming back. I'll tell you how I feel, and you let me know where you're at. I know that baseball is talking about June or July. I know the NBA's got 18 different dates, including December, and pushing next season back. I know the NHL wants to bring players back from the other countries, maybe play in North Dakota. I get all the ideas. You want to do whatever you can. But to me, it just doesn't seem like it is going to work anytime soon. And I believe you, I hope I'm wrong, but am I being unfair to say as much as I want sports, I don't see it happening? Or should I be a little more open to them coming back?
No, I think you're right, Dan. I mean, I agree with you. I'd like to see it tomorrow. I think everybody would like to see it tomorrow. We talked a month ago, until there's a vaccine, it's hard to picture it happening. Now they're talking about getting a vaccine by the end of 2020, which seems unlikely given the history of making vaccines, but you never know. And then I just think you're going to get a situation where, you start it up again, and then all of a sudden you have a Rudy Gobert situation where, Nico Goodrum tests positive, shut down Major League Baseball.
Matthew Boyd!
Like that, and they're right back, I mean, I have a friend who's a doctor who told me flat out, he goes, look, basketball, I could see putting basketball back together because you got 12 guys on each team, coaching, training staff, etc. He could see a scenario where that happens because, you test the 12 guys, they go in and play, nobody going to the game has it. You start to get into 25 guys with a baseball roster and you're playing every single day, which is what they're going to do. It is hard to picture. It really is. But then again, just were 8 weeks ago. 8 weeks ago, this seemed so foreign to us. I mean, you guys both remember when they started to cancel basketball games. Oh, yeah, they're going to play the NCAA tournament without fans. Like, that's crazy. That's reactionary. Ivy League, they started thinking, why would they cancel play in a gym with no fans? And then 2 days later, everything happened, So as quickly as it's gotten crazy here, and it's very crazy, it's still, we could break out of it without even realizing. Started Detroit, they're going to have a race in 2 weeks. Granted, they're in Carter, which is a little bit different than a run first and things like that. But then if they can do it, then maybe other people try to follow suit. But hopeful, yes, but realistically, no. I don't.
I call it the day the sport. I can't even talk right now. The day the sports earth stood still when the Gobert game happened. I was at LCA. a couple days before that. Dave, we talked about this, you and I, many times. When it comes to sports, as much as we want them, are you with Jamie and me like that? Yes, maybe it happens. We hope we're wrong, but it seems like it's kind of far-fetched right now.
I don't know. Every day it's a different story. Sometimes I'm thinking, yeah, maybe we're going to have it. Then other days I'm thinking maybe we're not. I mean, the NFL is going to come out with their schedule this week. So, that'll be interesting. They claim, vary it very much. Then I read an article that if college football doesn't go, they're going to play on Saturdays and Sundays.
Yeah, I look at it like this, and Jamie, you can tell me where you're at with this as well. When it comes to college, I look at, all the Dave mentioned the story about NFL maybe cutting, because the NFL's got the money, and 75% of revenue from college football is tickets. 25% of revenue for the NFL is tickets. So they can get away with it. College, if they don't have a season, Jamie, I think there's going to be programs that fold. I think that, I don't know, I'm not talking about App State or some of the smaller schools that are Division I FBS, but maybe a school like San Jose State. Or a school like, a school out east somewhere in in the ACC. They might fold because they need that money. They're the teams that are going out there, playing the $1 million. We're going to, obviously, App State beat Michigan, but the $1 million we'll go and lose to you, but you pay for our football season. I think we might see some programs fold if they don't play, Jamie. Right. Yep. Right. Right.
Everything is on the table because I know they feel like they get this in. When schools are closed, they can't bring these kids back to play football.
Right.
Because if they bring the kids back to well, then they have to bring back the kids to play soccer.
Lacrosse.
They have the kids back to play volleyball. I mean, they just say, we're only going to have and no other sport because, obviously what they're saying is we need the money. So that's why we're bringing the football players back. And if that happens, then they better go ahead and pay the players because if they don't pay the players, ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, as long as the Cats continue to have their sports programs, I'm sure you're fine with it. They won't fold. They got cash, right? Cats.
The opposite. The Cats get like no money from the football program, and they get all their money from the endowment and from tuition and things like that. Because if you play Michigan Stadium on a Saturday.
Yes. All right, let me get to a couple quick hitters with you. And then we got a Daily 101 starring Jamie Samuelsen. Then I've got a special quick segment for you called Jamming with Jam Sam. All right, let me start with this. Last Dance, speaking of classic Pistons games, obviously the bad boys were the focus last week, I still believe. And they were the team that I fell in love with sports with. Lions and obviously the Wolverines, my loves of sports as an early age. But I fell in love with sports with those bad boys when I was 10, 11, and 12. Going to those games in the Silverdome and the Palace. How have you enjoyed The Last Dance, the Jordan documentary, obviously? And Do you think that the bad boy Pistons get their due? I think that, yes, they were kind of wrecking the NBA's mold of Magic and Larry passing it to Michael, but one of the greatest championship teams ever, and they weren't going to let you get to the lane. What are your thoughts on that whole experience?
I am enjoying the documentary very much. But I'm taking it on. Seems they're going to make him the watch Rodney wasn't when they actually see the. But I think you're right, Dan. I mean, the bad boy are a unique team. Never be properly respected outside of the city. From what no respects us, nobody respects us. But true, and I lived in Chicago to that rival. And when I moved here, I started to really appreciate that team. And Stoney and I had Isaiah on the show last Tuesday, and I asked him, "Does it ever bother that your Bulls kind of gets lost in the show?" Those two teams, particularly to me, the 88-89 team, to me is one of the great teams ever. In basketball history. When you look at what they accomplished offensively, defensively, they lost 2 games the entire postseason. Those were to the Bulls. They won, 63, 64 games. They just did it all. I mean, a ferocious rebounding team, great scoring, great perimeter shooting, interior scoring, obviously it's tough as hell. So it bothers me that they're just going to be viewed as thugs. But unfortunately, they kind of picked a little bit to play the way they play defensively, to take out the offensive stars for the Celtics and the Bulls, and to a lesser extent the Lakers, the way they did in those high-profile series. And it was funny. I was listening to a podcast last week with Ryan Russillo, who for years was on ESPN Radio, and he said, "He goes, hey Pistons, look, but he's asked for a couple years. They're not going to like you. That's just the way it is. I mean, don't worry about being liked because they're not going to like you." And he's right. I mean, you choose to play that way, you win a lot. You got your 2 rings, you got your 2 trophies. And last night on ESPN they re-aired the Bad Boys 30 for 30 featuring our good friend Terry Foster. Right. And the last line of the doc was Kid Rock's voice, and he said, "Look, they won their championships. If you don't at least respect them, or if you don't at least appreciate what they stood for, well, guess what? They don't give a." And then it cut to the credits, and I think that's true. I mean, I think Isaiah in the last week seems to care a lot more than he ever did. I don't know. It's almost like he's trying to rework his place in history, to which I say, Isaiah, you're good. You're fine. Everybody here loves you. Real basketball fans appreciate how good a player he was.
He was better than Stockton, and I don't care that Jordan's still salty 28 years later. He should have been on the Dream Team. Isaiah was incredible. And also, we've had 2 major live sporting events since the day the sports world stood still. We had yesterday's Arkansas Derby. I told you I'm a big horseman now. And the NFL Draft. Jamie, first off, it must have been so exciting to finally have something recent to talk about on your show. But what were your instant reactions to the Lions draft? Yes, they did take Okuda number 3. They could have traded down. But I think when you look at that draft up and down, it's only on paper, but they did a hell of a job.
Yeah, I mean, it's positive because of they appear to fill obvious need by poor picks, poor signs. Guard, I thought, or at least a solid guard. So the Okuda pick is the one sticking on because they didn't trade down, and I certainly understand. But at the same time, I do think the Lions got a little bit screwed by the injury to with the COVID-19, because I think that a lot of teams work him out, weren't sure about him. While he would have been a 100% desired quarterback in most drafts, I think he was probably more like 90% desired because they just don't know for sure.
Right.
And I think Miami looked at the Lions and they looked at the Giants. He's going to be there at 5. We don't have to trade up. And so while I think most fans would have loved to have Quinn trade up, and I would have loved to have Quinn, I didn't think it was in the cards. So part of that's on him for kind of creating a scenario where it was so obvious that their guy was Matthew Stafford. But part of that, I think, is just the fate. It's just the realism of where the Lions are right now.
By the way, I apologize. I don't know if you are aware, Jamie. I think your camera's kind of gone in and out. Is there any way you can grab some tinfoil and maybe some rabbit hairs? Because the connection's been kind of in and out. Dave,
let me move up. Let me move upstairs. I'm going to move
Dave
upstairs.
Dave has been very concerned because he wants you, because he thinks you look so good on camera. He wants to make sure there's no connection problem.
Yeah, of course, yes.
No, see, this is the problem. This is our problem. Everybody in my house now is either Zooming or FaceTiming or Microsoft Teaming because school and projects. My wife is doing a television show twice a week from our basement. And so I think our bandwidth sucks. So let me move into a place closer to the router.
Well, I appreciate that. And the first time you were so great, and now you're on for base sweeps. So I got to make sure people are happy. I got to make sure the connection's good. We'll get Jamie. He's almost to the router area. And look, that's very. Is that the Stoney compound of the house? Is that the only area you love Stoney in when he comes over?
I never let Stoney in this house. That was never happened.
Yes, I think we're good. It's let it kind of reset here. I apologize for the people watching the chat room. It's not Jamie's fault. It's Jamie. We're kind of in this area now where. So I remember Dave knows this. About a month ago, there was one night where I kept getting knocked off my internet because there were so many people at home using internet. Whether you got the best bandwidth in the world, that's one of the quarantine problems. Everyone's using the internet, Sam.
I know. So I apologize for the poor quality.
Even if it's poor quality, it's still top-notch quality because you're on. All right, let's get into a little Jam Sam one-on-one. Well, Dan Leach one-on-one starring Jam Sam. Dave has prepared 5 incredibly awesome questions, as he always does. And I have no idea what they are. But Jamie, of course, will go first. Then myself, Dave, baby Dave, the birthday boy. He's up first.
What's with baby Dave? You're loving this baby Dave that takes me back to early in my radio career.
Yeah, my sister loves that I call it Baby Dave, Jamie. I guess what was the name of your show? Baby Dave and the Dingo? What was the name of your show?
That was Bill Thomas, the Baby Dave, and I think the board op was Boutros. It was a long time ago in my early in my radio career.
All right, what do you got for?
All right. Question 1 for Jamie tonight. So, after the lockdown was lifted in Italy, they had a massive crowd gathering to get the new Air Jordan 5, the 5 Red that sold out online. So the malls were like just mobbed for people getting Air Jordans. When our lockdown is lifted, what is the first thing you're going to go get?
Wow,
good question, baby.
That's a great question. I have not done a hell of a lot of eating. When we do carry out, usually my wife or my daughter picks up the carry out. So I would love to go to a local, like a Panera or even a Chipotle and get a nice solid meal. Maybe even a Red Coat, get a nice Red Coat burger with fries, sit in the environs there in Royal Oak and take it all in. So it would definitely be food related. There's no product I would run out and get. It would be going to have a nice cold beer with bar or get a nice meal. That would definitely be it.
That is a great answer. And why don't I take you out? I'll get you a beer, get you a Red Bull. For me, I'm a big arcade guy. Dave knows this.
Wonderful.
Yes, Dave knows I'm a big arcade guy.
Don't you owe me lunch?
I think I owe you like 3 lunches, so I got to get you a nice dinner. We like
don't you owe lunch too?
I'll take you out to lunch. We love video games, and David Buster's. Dave and I go and win presents for my nephew and Olive all the time. So I think for me, it would be going to like David Buster's because there won't be arcades for a long time. Those places are germ factories. So I would say that's the one for me. Gotta love the arcade. Dave, question 2.
Question 2, Jamie. Puzzle companies and game companies are showing record profits right now. What games are you and your family playing that you normally would not even pull off the shelf?
Well, we've done a ton of jigsaw puzzles. I'm definitely on the jigsaw. Daughter and I. We have done, I'd say, 1, 2, 3. We've done at least 5, maybe 6 jigsaw puzzles. Earlier on, White Mountain Puzzles, outstanding puzzle company. I'm getting no money from them. I'm giving them a free endorsement.
Nice.
They're fantastic. Off a couple board games. Sorry has been the big go-to. Sorry was a big game in my house 3 or 4 years ago, and now we've gone back to it with the kids. We played a lot of Sorry.
Love Sorry. I'll nominate Chutes and Ladders and Risk. All right, Dave, question 3.
Tomorrow, as you know, May 4th, Disney Plus is offering all 11 Star Wars movies available on the stream.
May the 4th be with you.
So USA Today did a list. I'll give you their top 3 of the 11. They had number 3, The Force Awakens. Number 2, the original Star Wars from 1977. I think that would be A New Hope.
4.
And their number 1 is The Empire Strikes Back. What are your top 3 Star Wars movies of the 11?
And at least you've seen them because Stoney hasn't even watched Star Wars, idiot.
And I know that you and Greg talk about this all the time on your show. So
I didn't like the first 3 movies. I mean, and when I say first 3, I mean episodes 1, 2, and 3. 3 had some moments. Yeah, 3 had some moments towards the end when spoiler alert, Anakin turns into Darth Vader. Most Star Wars junkies view Empire as the best. Like it's like a fact. Like Jordan's the best, Ali's the best. I still go with the original. I'm a New Hope guy 1, Empire Strikes Back 2, and because the 7, 8, and 9 they're all to me kind of about the same. I like Force Awakens. I'm going to go Rogue One episode 3rd. So I thought that was really clever, really original. I really enjoyed the movie. I didn't expect to like it, and I really liked it a lot. So those are my top 3.
Jamie, you're a man after my own heart. I've got Rogue One 3 as well. I love The Force Awakens. I love all of them. I'm a huge Star Wars guy. Tomorrow will be a special day across the world to believe in the Force. But I go Rogue One 3. I go Empire 2. And this is based on my preference because of what I liked as a kid. I love Jedi the most. I mean, I love Empire as well. And Empire probably is the best movie.
Wow.
And I've talked about this on the show with you before when I filled in for Stoney with you and Greg. And I remember someone called in and they were giving me a hard time. Greg's like, it's based on what he likes, he's talking about what means the most to him. As a kid, Jamie, for whatever reason, Return of the Jedi, the closing of that chapter of the story meant everything to me. I remember waiting in my kitchen, back when we were younger, getting VHS tapes. They cost like $200. You couldn't get them. It wasn't like there was DVDs. My dad got a pirated copy. I waited for 6 hours for him in front of my driveway. He couldn't get it that day. He got it the next day. But that's how much I love Star Wars. So I'm going to go Rogue One, Empire, Jedi.
Here's a quick question.
Yes.
Do you guys remember which theater you were in when you saw all 9 of the original Star Wars movies?
Yes, and I'll tell you this.
3. I do.
What's that, Jim?
I definitely do. I remember exactly where I was when I saw New Hope, Empire, Jedi, all of them. I remember exactly where I was.
I was born in 77, so I didn't see that in the theater. I didn't see Empire in the theater. But I'll never forget this. I saw Return of the Jedi. I grew up in Huntington Woods. I can't remember the theater. It was right near Huntington Woods. It's closed now. They showed a Tom and Jerry cartoon before the movie started. My mom took me at like 2 in the afternoon on a Thursday, whatever it was, and it was the coolest thing ever. And then 3 of the movies, including episode 3, and I want to say Attack of the Clones as well. They came out on my birthday on May 19th. So it was pretty sick.
Oh, wow.
Dave, do you remember the theaters you saw them in?
I didn't see, I was only 4 years old in 77, so I didn't see that one in the theaters. I did see Empire and Jedi in the theaters, and the rest of them, I think I saw a lot of them with you, Dan, at screenings. A lot of the prequels and a lot of the new ones that came out. In fact, we ran into that one guy who we affectionately call 77 because that was like he was so excited about The Crawl. He was like, I haven't seen this since 77. Such a weird dude. But so yeah, I think I saw most of those were either at Imagine or the MJR out in
I saw
Troy.
episode 3 on a date with a girl in Atlanta. That was fun. Birthday. All right, question 4.
Question 4, this will be close to Jamie's heart. NFL.com has a great 12-minute video called What If? And they're talking about what if the catch from Montana to Clark never happened and how it would have affected the landscape of sports. They had like Elway going to the Niners, and they had like all these weird things happening, and Montana retiring, and Bill Walsh getting fired, and all this stuff. My question for you is, what would be the best Detroit sports moment to do a what if video?
Nice question, Dave.
I'm a big believer that if Steve Yzerman didn't score that goal against St. Louis in the second round of the '86 playoffs, they had lost the game, that they would have broken that team up, because that was the year that they won 63 games, set the all-time record for points. And, Scotty Bowman, he would have probably been let go. It wasn't working. They were still a regular season wonder playoff. They just couldn't battle in playoffs. They couldn't even get out of the second round against the St. Louis Blues. Now, they ended up losing in the next round anyway to Colorado, but still, it was a brutal series. They got to game 6, so on and so forth. So that's a pretty big what if. If Warren doesn't score that goal, what would happen to the Detroit Red Wings franchise?
That's a great one. By the way, we've got a special guest in the chat room. Lori Sparkles says, hi, Jamie, Dan, and Rieger. She said a lot of heart stuff. So hello to Sparkles. For me, I'm going to say, if there's no phantom foul in 88 with Kareem, the Pistons win 4 or 5 championships. Mm-hmm. The bad boys. So I'm going to go with that one. I mean, we know that was BS. Also, I'll give you an honorary mention. If there was no Trey Burke, Peyton Siva foul, Peyton Siva admitted that it wasn't a foul, then Michigan wins the national championship. So those are my 2. I like this. All right, miss you too, Lori. Let's hit it out of the park as we always do with question 5. Then we got to get Jamie to bed soon.
So Key West, Florida has canceled its Ernest Hemingway lookalike contest because of COVID-19 that was supposed to run July 23rd through the 25th.
Great job, Dave.
Typically they attract around 100 people, but they're older in age, so they were worried about having this get-together. What event that has been canceled due to the pandemic are you really bummed about, Jamie?
Oh, I see. I thought you were going to ask me what lookalike contest could have the best chance of going.
Or what's your favorite Hemingway?
And the answer would be the Phil. No, the answer would be the Phil Dunphy lookalike contest for Modern Family.
Nice.
Sure. Yes.
What has been? I mean, so we're saying non-sporting event to this point, right? I mean, obviously.
It could be any event. I mean, obviously, it could be the NCAA tournament. It could be the Open Championship that was canceled for golf.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the stuff's been postponed, but some of the stuff's been canceled.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
I've got one that I think that Jamie's going to say. I'm going to see if he says it, because that's going to be mine if he doesn't.
Well, no, I mean, I know you're going to. You and I are both 2 of the only tennis fans listening right now or watching right now in the entire Detroit area. So Wimbledon or whatever. Yep. I just, those are fun events. But the Masters, man, that was tough. That was a very tough one, the Masters, because it's a great weekend. The weather usually here sucks, so you're inside on your couch the entire time, just taking it all in. And I like the Masters so much more than the other majors. And I know the other majors are great, but I just truly enjoy them as well. So I think that's my big one so far.
That's what I do. And the other one I thought about was the Derby. I mean, the Derby's going to be in the fall. Kentucky Derby, and obviously the Arkansas Derby. And it was actually a very cool scene yesterday. If you were watching it, they had all of the horse riders and the people that helped them load the horses. They had them line up around the track, face one direction. They played Auld Lang Syne on the trumpet and thanked all the horse racing fans for, supporting the sport. And this is something, I'm not joking. Actually, Dave knows this. I mean, I'm kind of a horse guy, Jamie. It's fun. It's cheap to bet on.
Uh-oh.
And it's, if horses.
It's cheap to bet on.
Well, I'm just saying, there's no sports to bet on. But Jamie, the Squatch has to have a good horse record.
You and Hank Goldberg.
Yes, Hammer and Hank. But Jamie, they've said this, and this is actually people like, how can horse racing go on with no fans when other sports can't? If certain tracks like Los Alamitos in California, some of those smaller tracks, or Fodder Park in Oklahoma or Nebraska, if they don't, horses will die. They won't have money to feed them. They won't have people to take care of them.
Yeah.
So that's why they're connected to agriculture. And I think the Derby, it was sad it wasn't there, but Arkansas took its place, Jamie.
Look at this guy, Dave. He's doing it out of the goodness for the horses. That's why he's betting on these races.
Yes,
of course.
Is just to help out his equine friends.
I mean,
I have not seen the Squatch with any guarantees on Twitter. Are you putting up your daily trifectas?
No,
or
I think I tweeted a couple. Dave knows I hit one 20-set superfecta for $333, and I hit one pick 5 for 50 sets for $288. But no Squatch picks yet. I'm not that much of a horseman. I need to learn some.
This is exciting because I think this will start to bring you and Valenti back together.
Yes.
Your shared love of equestrian. You guys can really kind of mend the fences now.
I think it's beautifully said. All right, Jamie, we got to let you go in a second. We appreciate you being here, and the camera's fine now. We love you. You are the greatest. I want to do a couple quick questions. I was going to say this, but we are more condensed now. My segment's called Jamming with Jam Squatch. I just have a few quick questions, rapid fire for you. Jamming with Jam Squatch. All right, just a few quick rapid fire. If you could see any band right now live in your basement, who would it be?
Oh man, I would say Dave Matthews Band.
Nice.
But I would give them explicit instructions that every one of their songs has to be 5 minutes and 30 seconds or less.
But part of the fun of Dave,
I don't like the jam.
Yeah, that's part of the fun. Like a 15-minute Rapunzel, or like a 25-minute Don't Drink the Water.
No, I want an 8-minute Don't Drink the Water. I don't want a 25-minute one. When's that station coming back, Dan? Is that starting up soon?
Yes, dude. It's been like normally it goes away and then in the winter comes back in the spring, but with no live concerts. Maybe they'll have to come back and play regular, random old concerts. That's one of my favorite things.
That's okay. They got a lot of them in the books. They can. I'm sure they can find some.
They've got tons. All right, a couple more here. If you could travel anywhere right now in the world and you can bring your family, that's fine, but you'd be alone, like that couple that got lost in the Maldives. You'd be alone. It'd be safe. There'd be no tourists there. Anywhere in the world, where do you go right now?
Oh, I'd go down to some tropical island in the Caribbean, like Anguilla or St. Bart's or something like that. But if I could honestly go somewhere with tourists right now, and this weekend made me think of it, I would go up to like Glen Arbor or Traverse City or Petoskey. I mean, like this weekend, which was so nice, and it made me really long for like a 4-day weekend up north. I gotta hope we get to the point where we can do that.
Go with Karsh?
Yes. I'll go. And I'll bring my bike helmet too. Yes,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, last one for you. If you could let's say I know Dave's working on Doc Fauci for his show that he's producing this week. That'll be an easy interview.
Wow.
Doc Fauci, and an American hero. If you could reach out,
Dave, if you get him on with Paul W, can you have him call over to your old pals Jamie and Stoney right afterwards?
Not a problem.
Thanks, buddy.
If you could reach out to someone right now via email, text, or carrier pigeon, and ask them to interview you, want to interview them on Jamie and Stoney, or just the task force right now with us, and they would say yes instantly, who would that person be? Anybody. Literally anybody.
Wow. And they would give you good, solid, honest answers.
Listen, not only would they say yes, but if you asked them questions and they weren't like, you weren't being like, trying to get them to like cause problems, but if you ask them a question, they answer everything honestly. Everything.
I'd say President Trump.
Yep.
I'd say President Trump. Find out exactly what's going on, exactly what he knows, when he knew it, how he planned for this. Did he plan correctly for it? Did he not plan correctly for it? Because I don't think we're getting honest answers in a lot of these press briefings, and I think we deserve honest answers. So it probably would be President Trump.
I think that is an excellent answer. That's probably what I'd have to go with right now as well. Either him or Boris Johnson. I'm kidding. I don't want to talk to Boris Johnson. All right. Before we go, let's do some quick parting shots. We'll save the house item for next time because we got to let Jamie get out of here. Dave, parting shots for you, my friend.
Well, I am going to include my house item in my parting shots because it goes along with one of my questions of the day.
All right.
For Jamie, and that was back when the Broncos won their first Super Bowl. I went a little crazy with my credit card, and I have a Super Bowl Monopoly Broncos game. So
nice.
You can see it.
So what's Boardwalk? Is it the stadium or is
Boardwalk is the Super Bowl and one of the pieces is the Vince Lombardi Trophy and other things. So like the Park Place is the AFC NFC Championship game, stuff like that. So yeah, so this is pretty
nice.
So this thing is house item.
So who's Elway? Is Elway a piece or is it
it's got to be like a computer piece, right?
Well, I think we'll open it up here, and I'll see if I can show you.
Oh, nice. Okay.
This is the game, so yeah.
I think I want to burn that, Jamie.
That's awesome.
I think I want to burn it.
Yeah.
It is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
It is pretty cool.
Hey, listen, when the Lions win their Super Bowl, Dan will buy the Super Bowl 96 edition of Monopoly as well.
100%.
So you're not alone.
Jam Sam, parting shots for you. And by the way, please send my love to Christy, the kids, the J-Wiz, and you're a hell of a dad, hell of a broadcaster, hell of a friend, and a human being. So thank you as always. What do you got?
So watching the Wings win the Stanley Cup today in Pittsburgh in 2008 and watching the Pistons win the NBA championship last week on Fox Sports Detroit in 2004, I was struck by the fact that Ken Holland and Joe Dumars got a really raw deal when they left the city because Dumars put together a championship team with no superstars. Nobody gave them a chance. They won it all. They went to 6 straight Eastern Conference finals. Yes, I know it got bad at the end, but still, the good far outweighs the bad. And Holland took that team. They lost Yzerman. They lost Fedorov. They lost Shanahan. Completely reworked it. Granted, he did have Nicholas Lidstrom, which helped a lot. Brought back Chris Osgood and won a Stanley Cup championship with guys like Cleary and Samuelsen and Hoodler. I mean, it's to me, it's lost in the shuffle for these two guys because of how it ended for these two guys, and I think their memories need to be kind of raised up a little bit in this town.
Yeah, Jamie, you could have said that better. And I remember doing so many different shows where people were ripping Holland, not forgetting what the Wings have done for 25 previous years. Joe Dumars getting that championship. Without him, they don't win it. Yes, Darko sucked, and some other of his deals sucked, but they won a championship. Could have won 2 or 3. So very well said by you. And hopefully we'll be able to talk about some live sports soon. But either way, Jamie, stay safe. I hope to see you in a safe environment soon. Maybe before the space coat needs to come out. Maybe a safe socially distanced walk or a push cart round of golf. But thank you for joining us as always. You've always been a very kind, generous soul to me, but also a major inspiration in my career. So thank you for that as always, my friend.
Great talking to you guys. You know how I feel about both of you, Dave and Dan. You've always been good to me, and I've always tried to reciprocate and consider you both to be good friends. So stay safe yourselves, and I hope to see you guys soon.
Absolutely. Until next time.
Stay safe, Jamie. Thanks.
Wash your hands.
All right, see you guys.
Believe in the dream. Task Force. Go Giants.